Carrier Strike Group 9 arriving. Theodore Roosevelt arriving. Carrier Air Wing 11 arriving. Destroyer Squadron 23 arriving. Good morning, distinguished guests, fellow chiefs, shipmates, and our family and friends joining us live. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you here today to witness a Navy tradition that has been performed for over 120 years. Not only will you be present or witness to the penning of 45 Chief Petty Officers, but you will also share in the most significant transition they will ever make in their naval careers. FY21 Chiefs, enter. The national anthem will be sung by Master Chief Kittle, Chief Day, and Chief Albright. Parade the colors.
say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Retire the colors. Chief Petty Officer Thomas Debenedictus will now give the invocation.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Creator, we come to you with humbled hearts, humbled that we have the honor of serving our great country on this mighty warship. Be with us as we carry out our nation's bidding. Be with us as we pin 45 new Chief Petty Officers. I pray that each one of them uses all that they have learned to continue the excellence expected of the Chief's Mess. Continue to protect us and guide us, Lord. It's in your holy name we pray. Amen.
You may be seated. Chief's Mess, parade, rest. TR, at ease. I would like to introduce the Commander of Carrier Strike Group 9, Rear Admiral Doug VERISSIMO. A native of Falmouth, Massachusetts, he immediately enlisted with the Naval Aviation Cadet Program after graduating from Cape Cod Community College in 1987, and upon completion of flight training, he earned both his commission and a designation as a naval aviator in July 1989. A career sailor, he holds a Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics, a Master of Science in Campaign Planning and Strategy, and is a graduate of the Navy Nuclear Program. The rest of Rear Admiral VERISSIMO's bio can be found in today's program. Shipmates, families, and friends, without any further ado, Rear Admiral Doug VERISSIMO.
Along with the beginning of my bio also goes reading glasses, which means I'm sorry for dropping my mask just for a moment so I don't fog up here. In the beautiful Pacific sunshine on a beautiful day, honoring some beautiful chiefs out there, our soon-to-be chiefs. It's going to be wonderful. Congratulations, chiefs. I can't tell you what an honor it is to be standing in front of the Navy's newest Chief Petty Officers. Every new beginning comes from some other new beginning's end. I was honored to watch you bury your white hats last night. It was very reflective for me. I enjoyed seeing everybody's face and everybody's interaction with their past and their future. It couldn't be more pleasurable. It is a closing time in your life, but much like when you first put that white hat on, it's a time for that new beginning. It's a time for new excitement and new adventures yet to be known. While you will never forget all that you have learned up till now, your discovery can never be over. While you will never forget what it was like to leave home for the first time and enter into this profession, you will be responsible to take care of your young sailors while making those same tough choices while making the mission happen. The Navy will be leaning on you now more than ever to be leaders of competence and character that our sailors can emulate long into the future. Your span of control and influence has just expanded exponentially. Some of you will succeed quickly, some of you will learn on the way, and if we have anything to do with it, none of you will fail. None of you will fail tragically, but we expect experimentation. We expect that you will have some steps along the way that need to be corrected. That goes to my comment of never cease your learning. I also want to take a moment to recognize those hardworking sailors, whether they be officers or enlisted along the way. I am privileged to stand here as an 07 knowing that there were many, many talented folks that I worked with along the way that through their own choices or choices of the Navy can't continue to compete and be with us here today. But nonetheless, we honor all of them by continuing to serve with integrity, honesty, and forthright effort. I truly believe that Chief set the standard in my 33-year career. I've leaned on my senior enlisted leaders throughout my entire career. My chiefs, at times, more times than I can count, provided me their guidance, their expertise, and their unvarnished opinion. And I want to emphasize that unvarnished opinion. You are not only charged with leading your sailors, but with providing guidance, counsel, and honest feedback to those senior to you. I implore you all to be sailors' advocates, speak truth to power, and when asked, hey Chief, what do you think, to answer honestly and professionally. One of my mentors liked to say, we stand on the shoulders of giants. Those who came before us in history in the Navy, those who have taught us and led us and mentored us, but we can never stand on the shoulders of those we lead. We must lift them up and make it better for them. We all come to this organization with different perspectives and endeavor to provide your fellow sailors with your point of view and to work to illuminate any potential unknowns for them. While it is incredibly important that we recognize the gravity of your accomplishments today in front of your brothers and sisters of the mess and your sailors, and most importantly, your families dialed in and watching from home, I need you all to keep your gaze on the horizon, your mind sharp. If our operations thus far during this deployment have taught us anything, it is that the key to our success will be our ability to creatively think outthink any would-be challenger. The world is only getting more complex and competitive, and if we are to remain a preeminent Navy, we need the chiefs to aspire their teams to outthink and outpace and make better decisions than our adversary. Now that you're chiefs, it's no longer my chief's mess, my wardroom, my ship. You are embarking on the level in your profession where it has to be the word "our." You have to be that, take that ownership and be part of our team. These are our sailors. These are our chief's messes. These are our wardrooms. These are our future that we need to train, mentor, and develop. Looking out at this group of chief selects, I know you're up to the challenge. I know you will never stop fighting, that you will never stop pushing your teams to do better, and that you will relentlessly self-evaluate and continue to learn to ensure the example you are setting is what is best for the Navy, our nation, and your sailors. Please take today as an opportunity to celebrate your accomplishments and take pride in joining the elite few who may call themselves Chief Petty Officers. And now that this season is over, I really look forward to all the chiefs getting back out on the deck plates and after the day-to-day tasks and getting you all back out here and working as one. We got some well-deserved time coming up. I expect to see everybody with smiles on their faces and some elbow bumps. Congratulations to all. And Navy Chief, Navy Pride. Thank you very much. Carry on.
Selectees, parade, rest. Today's guest speakers are Command Master Chief, Carrier Strike Group 9, Veronica C. Holliday, Command Master Chief, Carrier Air Wing 11, Jerry J. Holler, and Command Master Chief, USS Theodore Roosevelt, Michael J. MASHBURN. With more than 75 years of combined naval service, leadership, and experience, these Master Chiefs have been Chief Petty Officers longer than many of us have had the honor of wearing the uniform. Master Chief Holliday was born in Durango, Mexico, and she joined the Navy shortly after graduating high school in 1995 in Reseda, California, completing basic training in Great Lakes and follow-on training as an aviation boatswain's mate handling at Naval Training Center, Millington, Tennessee. Advanced to Master Chief Petty Officer in the spring of 2012, she assumed her duties as the Command Master Chief for Commander Carrier Strike Group 9, November of 2020. Master Chief Holler, hailing from Sonocia, Arizona, joined the Navy in 1998, and after completing Recruit Training Command, Great Lakes, he attended Technical Corps and Fire Controlman School in Great Lakes before reporting to AN Spy 1 Alpha School at the Aegis Training and Readiness Center in Dahlgren, Virginia. He was advanced to Master Chief Petty Officer in the spring of 2015 and assumed his duties as Command Master Chief, Carrier Air Wing 11, July 2020. Master Chief MASHBURN, a native of Washington State, joined the Navy in 1990, attending Recruit Training Command at Recruit Training Command Orlando, Florida, and proceeding on to USS Theodore in Subic Bay, Philippines, where he was advanced to Boiler Technician 3rd Class. Selected to Master Chief in 2010 while stationed aboard USS Theodore Roosevelt, he returned and assumed his duties as Command Master Chief, USS Theodore Roosevelt, January 2020. Without further delay, ladies and gentlemen, shipmates, Command Master Chiefs Holliday, Holler, and MASHBURN.
These Chief Petty Officers select these naval service. For the past 8 weeks, they have been trained, tried, and tested. And today, I am proud to say they are ready for the responsibilities of a Chief Petty Officer. Their advancement has been well earned, and we are proud to welcome them to our ranks. To our families back home, I would like to welcome you to the Chief Petty Officer family. Please know that you played a pivotal role in your sailor's success. I salute you and thank you for your service, sacrifice, unconditional love, understanding, and for sharing your sailor with our Navy. To our Chief Selects, this accomplishment in your career has come with great sacrifice and work. You persevered through long deployments, tough assignments, and missed time with your family. When those anchors get pinned on you today, and your cover is gone, remember who you did it for and why you did it. This year's initiation theme was Teaching to the Free. You had many challenges during this time and faced many obstacles in the form of a task. They were purposely placed before you. These tasks were meant to cost you confusion, frustration, adversity, and self-reflection. Know that each task had a purpose and lesson that needed to be instilled in you in order to strengthen you. It forced you to look to the Chief's Mess for guidance. It forced you to trust the Chief's Mess. It forced you to understand the different perspectives and ways of accomplishing the task while still meeting the needs of your sailors, the command mission, and your own personal and professional needs. More importantly, it forced you to understand the meaning behind Ask the Chief. Warrior toughness demands us to be stronger, faster, and smarter than our adversary. You must be on the deck plates, leading, guiding, and training our sailors. This will ensure they are physically, mentally, and spiritually ready to both fight and win. In the United States Navy, the rank of E7 carries with it unique responsibilities and privileges you are now expected to fulfill and bound to observe. You are part of something bigger than yourself. It's not about you, it's about the team. It's about the family. And with that, you need to know and understand that everything you do is your reputation. Everything you do is your credibility. And in everything you do, you should show humility. Always wear those anchors with pride and behave in a way that will always protect them from any stain or dishonor. Be the extraordinary Chief Petty Officer that God, you, and your family knows you can be, and ultimately, the leader our Navy needs you to be. Welcome to the mess, brothers and sisters.
Good morning. We've now finished with initiation. Let's start that over. Good morning. You've now finished with initiation and are about to embark on your journey as the Chief. In the United States Navy, you aren't merely promoted to E7, you are now the Chief. As you are now the Chief, you are now part of an exclusive fellowship of men and women who have donned the anchor before you. This fellowship spans the globe and contains some of the greatest men and women who have ever donned the uniform. As with any fellowship, such as a fraternity or sorority, there are dues. Your dues are paid by your acceptance to not just your promotion, but a new way of life. You now owe every day. What you owe is that you will be there for your sailors, your command, and your brothers and sisters inside of the mess. Your repayment is that they will be there for you when you need them to be as well. Additionally, your promotion carries with it a tradition of excellence that it cannot be found in any other service worldwide. This tradition of excellence is built upon those chiefs that have gone before you willingly accepting a greater level of responsibility while balancing mission success with sailor well-being. This tradition has now existed for 127 years, yet it isn't defined by any order or regulation. It is most simply put as the responsibility to make our Navy better. The chiefs who came before you accepted this responsibility freely without reservation. Their actions and performance demanded the respect of their seniors as well as their juniors. For you to accomplish this, you must now adopt a new lifestyle. This change of lifestyle you embarked upon demands that you be the most honorable fount of wisdom, an ambassador of goodwill, an authority on leadership, and the absolute technical expert in your field. It is due to this that you need to learn to relish the question, Chief, do you have a minute? That simple question and the following response that you give can change not only a sailor's choice at that time, but their approach to the Navy and their life. This is how the phrase, ask the Chief, became a household phrase. Embrace this new challenge, and you will continue to be rewarded with the success of those around you. To the new brothers and sisters in the mess, I just want to say welcome.
Good morning, Rough Riders. What an awesome day today. You are now the Chief. When you leave here today, khakis creased, anchors pinned, and combo cover in tow, you are the chief. But that is not an honor that you have independently earned, nor is it a title by its virtue in itself. It is often said in present day that we walk on the shoulders of giants. In our case, as chiefs, that's really only half true. The chief's backs upon which we stand and serve are the same ones as the famed Admiral Bull Halsey explained took his battleship to sea. The same individual Admiral Nimitz looked to rebuild Pearl Harbor. The same who for more than 125 years have laid the very foundation of deck plate leadership, technical and institutional knowledge, and heritage upon which we all stand. Hallowed as our halls may be, their character, their service, and their performance built them. It is our charge, our responsibility to maintain them. You are not entitled to entrance by virtue of your collar device, but by your dedication, your leadership, and loyalty to the same principles and standards upon which our mess was built. You are now the chief. It is not that you have now arrived, but you are just now beginning your leadership journey. It was supposed to be hard. It was supposed to challenge you. And it was always meant that you never forget this wonderful day. It is our intention to try you and accept you. But we needed to know if your performance would assure that you would wear that hat with the same pride as those had that come before you. We wanted to know if you knew who you are, why you are here, and what it is that you bring to the mess. There are many different opinions about the chief's mess from various circles and various levels of understanding. But what matters is what does your performance say? Are we upholding the standard, living by the example, and are we leading? Our CPO creed does not say by their opinions, but it reminds us that by performance, we are measured. Work hard, always strive to do your best, and allow the record to carry the day. As a mess, there is nothing that we cannot do. Results, not excuses, is our way. Take a moment to reflect and think about that one chief who stands out to you, even now as you enter the chief's mess. Think about your loyalty to them, your trust in them, your reverence for who they were to you. Now reflect on your own sailors, the ones who look up to you and the ones who don't. These young men and women are the reason we all have the pleasure of donning the anchors every day. Never forget that. In many cultures around the world, the word chief was used to designate the warrior, the leader, the one to follow. Your sailors will look to you now in the same way, though they are only obligated to honor and follow the uniform. I challenge you, or rather, I charge each and every one of you to earn the right to be called chief and prove each and every day we are in the Navy, and only in the Navy can we maintain our feelings of pride. When hands shook, we are accepted as chief petty officers on the best ship with the best crew and the best nation in the world.
Thank you, Master Chiefs. The tradition of the Chief Petty Officer transition is an established and crucial rite of passage. The goal of this process includes instilling trust and motivating the selectee while simultaneously teaching leadership, establishing a spirit of corps, promoting unity, and occasionally having some fun. Chief's initiation culminates with the pinning of the anchors and the placing of the Chief Petty Officer cover, followed by the bells ringing them into the Chief's mess. We will now begin the Chief pinning. Selectees, attention. Chief Selectee Brittany Anuu from CSG 9 will be pinned by Captain O'Mahony. Her cover will be placed by Chief Gasper. Chief Selectee Mandy Hadley Eklund from CSG 9 will be pinned by Senior Chief Darling. Her cover will be placed by Chief Herndon. Chief Selectee Jamie Lewis from CSG 9 will be pinned by Lieutenant Commander Adame. Her cover will be placed by Senior Chief Clark. Senior Chief Selectee Kevin Schwannick from CSG 9 will be pinned by Senior Chief Gable. His cover will be placed by Chief Brandenburg. Chief Selectee Philip Schwartzlander from CSG 9 will be pinned by Chief Chappell. His cover will be placed by Chief Wynn. Chief Ainu arriving. Chief Hadley Eklund arriving. Chief Lewis arriving. Chief Swannick arriving. Chief Schwartzlander arriving. Chief Selectee Arturo Perez from HSM 75 will be pinned by Chief Perez. His cover will be placed by Chief Gallardo. Chief Selectee James Wardrobe from HSM 75 will be pinned by Command Master Chief Resurrection. His cover will be placed by Chief Steiner. Chief Selectee Robert Reynolds from HSC 8 will be pinned by Senior Chief Torres. His cover will be placed by Chief Common. Chief Perez arriving. Chief Wardrobe arriving. Chief Reynolds arriving. Chief Selectee Jordan Diaz from VAW 115 will be pinned by Chief Fisher. His cover will be placed by Chief Slepika. Chief Selectee Dakota Wilborn from VAW 115 will be pinned by Chief McNutt. His cover will be placed by Chief Vasquez. Chief Selectee Martin Rico from VFA 146 will be pinned by Chief Roberts. His cover will be placed by Senior Chief Schmidt. Chief Diaz, arriving. Chief Wilborn, arriving. Chief Rico, arriving. Chief Selectee Yamda Chandler from VFA 131 will be pinned by Master Chief Hooper. Her cover will be placed by Senior Chief Santa Cruz. Chief Selectee Jonathan McKernan from VFA 31 will be pinned by Chief Anderson. His cover will be placed by Chief Swanson. Chief Selectee Jennifer DeMolin from VFA 87 will be pinned by Chief Baker. Her cover will be placed by Command Master Chief Collins. Chief Selectee Keith King from VFA 87 will be pinned by Senior Chief Robinson. His cover will be placed by Senior Chief McBean. Chief Chandler, arriving. Chief McKernan, arriving. Chief DeMolin, arriving. Chief King, arriving. Chief Selectee Christopher Dockin from VFA 154 will be pinned by Senior Chief Garcia. His cover will be placed by Chief Winston. Chief Selectee Mark Lombardi from VFA 154 will be pinned by Senior Chief Ray. His cover will be placed by Chief Armstrong. Chief Selectee Betty Madison from VFA 154 will be pinned by Chief Perez. Her cover will be placed by Chief Conley. Dockin, arriving. Chief Lombardi, arriving. Chief Madison, arriving. Chief Selectee Ryan Bartow from VAQ 142 will be pinned by Chief Meffred. His cover will be placed by Chief White. Chief Selectee Jonathan Cocksilver from VAQ 142 will be pinned by Chief Dudley. His cover will be placed by C and Chief Deal. Chief Selectee Christopher Creek from VAQ 142 will be pinned by Chief Williams. His cover will be placed by Chief Clinton. Chief Selectee Eric Krogmeyer from VAQ 142 will be pinned by Senior Chief Downey. His cover will be placed by Chief Ferguson. Chief Selectee James Tolik from VAQ 142 will be pinned by Chief Rogers. His cover will be placed by Chief Mott. Chief Bartow, arriving. Chief Cocksilver, arriving. Chief Creek, arriving. Chief Krogmeyer, arriving. Chief Tolik, arriving. Chief Selectee Jeremy Albritton from the TR will be pinned by Chief Olson. His cover will be placed by Chief Auger. Chief Selectee Jack Beeler from the TR will be pinned by Master Chief DeSavior. His cover will be placed by Chief Williams. Chief Selectee Nicholas Beamer from the TR will be pinned by Chief Shreve. His cover will be placed by Chief Sams. Chief Selectee Michael DiMatteo from the TR will be pinned by Chief Auger. His cover will be placed by Chief Harris. Chief Selectee Michael Gaffney from the TR will be pinned by Senior Chief Moran. His cover will be placed by Chief Crichton. Britain, arriving. Chief Beeler, arriving. Chief Beamer, arriving. Chief DiMatteo, arriving. Chief Gaffney, arriving. Chief Selectee Abram Henderson from the TR will be pinned by Chief Martin. His cover will be placed by Senior Chief Steele. Chief Selectee Abraham Lara from the TR will be pinned by Chief Sendejas. His cover will be placed by Chief Gervasio. Chief Selectee Charles Lewis from the TR will be pinned by Chief Douglas. His cover will be placed by Chief Destora. Chief Selectee David McCoy from the TR will be pinned by Senior Chief Barkis. His cover will be placed by Chief Marble. Chief Selectee Brian Hatch from the TR will be pinned by Chief Caesar. His cover will be placed by Senior Chief Reinhardt. Chief Hatch, arriving. Chief Henderson, arriving. Chief Lara, arriving. Chief Lewis, arriving. Chief McCoy, arriving. Chief Selectee Tyler McCracken from the TR will be pinned by Senior Chief White. His cover will be placed by Senior Chief Twazon. Chief Selectee Roxanne Metlin from the TR will be pinned by Chief DeLorme. Her cover will be placed by Chief Day. Chief Selectee Caprice Newcomb from the TR will be pinned by Chief Fajardo. Her cover will be placed by Chief Rogers. Chief Selectee Daniel Wu-Yang from the TR will be pinned by Chief Bates. His cover will be placed by Senior Chief Pangansafrat. Chief McCracken, arriving. Chief Medlin, arriving. Chief Newcomb, arriving. Chief Uyang, arriving. Chief Selectee Yasmir Penton from the TR will be pinned by Chief Thompson. His cover will be placed by Chief Rodriguez. Chief Selectee Mary Kanga from the TR will be pinned by Chief Destora. Her cover will be placed by Chief Gutierrez. Chief Selectee Stetson Rowe from the TR will be pinned by Chief Cisse. His cover will be placed by Senior Chief Angel. Chief Selectee Stephanie Turner from the TR will be pinned by Chief Winston. Her cover will be placed by Chief Velasquez. Chief Penton, arriving. Chief Kanga, arriving. Chief Rowe, arriving. Chief Turner, arriving. Chief Selectee Gerald Ugali from the TR will be pinned by Chief Destora. His cover will be placed by Chief Magu. Chief Selectee Matthew Uname from the TR will be pinned by Chief Arabasala. His cover will be placed by Senior Chief Martis. Chief Selectee Chad Wagner from the TR will be pinned by Chief Herndon. His cover will be placed by Senior Chief Clifford. Chief Selectee Thomas Wiggin from the TR will be pinned by Senior Chief Guzman. His cover will be placed by Chief Latchley. Chief Ugali, arriving. Chief Unami, arriving. Chief Wagner, arriving. Chief Wiggin, arriving. We also want to make sure that we acknowledge Chief Leslick and the others unable to celebrate with us today on this pinning day. You will always be a part of the TRMS, and we welcome you. All Chief Petty Officers, past and present, cover and please come to attention. Senior Chief Petty Officers Dustin Simmons, Bryce Brown, Tina Vandacruz, Benon Legaspi, and Chief Raphael Falcone will now recite the Chief Petty Officers.
During the course of initiation, you have been caused to humbly accept challenge and face adversity. This you have accomplished with very good grace. Pointless as some of these challenges may have seemed, there were valid, time-honored reasons behind each pointed bar. Your faith in the fellowship of Chief Petty Officers was necessary to overcome these hurdles. The goal was to instill in you that trust is inherent with the donning of the uniform of a chief. Our intent was to impress upon you the challenge is good, a great necessary reality which cannot mar you, which in fact strengthens you.
In your future as a Chief Petty Officer, you will be forced to endure adversity far beyond what has thus far been imposed upon you. You must face each challenge and adversity with the same dignity, good grace you already demonstrated. By experience, by performance, and by testing, you have been advanced to Chief Petty Officer. In the United States Navy, and only in the United States Navy, the rank of E7 carries with it unique responsibilities and privileges you are now expected to fulfill and bound to observe.
Your entire way of life has changed. More will be expected of you. More will be demanded of you. Not because you are an E7, but because you are a Chief Petty Officer. You have not merely been promoted to pay grade. You have joined an exclusive fellowship, and in all fellowships, you have special responsibility to your comrades, even as they have a special responsibility to you. This is why we in the United States Navy may maintain with pride our feelings of accomplishment once we have attained the position of Chief Petty Officer.
Your responsibilities and privileges do not appear in print. They have no official standing. They cannot be referred to by name, number, or file. They have existed for over 100 years because chiefs before you have freely accepted responsibility beyond the call of printed assignment. Their actions and their performance demanded the respect of their seniors as well as their juniors. It is now required that you be the fountain of wisdom, the ambassador of goodwill, the authority in the personal actions, personal relations, as well as the technical applications. Ask the chief is a household phrase in and out of the Navy.
It was our intention that you never forget this day. It was our intention to test you, to try you, and to accept you. Your performance has assured us that you will wear the hat with the same pride your comrades in arms before you. We take a deep and sincere pleasure in clasping your hand and accepting you as a Chief Petty Officer in the United States Navy.
Chief Smith, as you were. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, I now present to you the FY21 Chief Petty Officers. Sideboards, post. At this time, I would like to invite the entire chief mess with our newest to sing one more rendition of Anchors Away. Chiefs Mess, Anchors Away.
Navy out to sea, fly our battle cry. We'll never change our course, though it is the boats we shine. Out the keys, there has the way. Sail on to victory and sink the most dangerous prey. Anchors away, my boys, anchors away. Farewell to foreign shores, we sail at break of day. Through our last night ashore, straight to the foe, until we meet once more. Here's wishing you a happy voyage home. Through of the mighty deep, gold of God's great Son. Let these our colors be till all of time be done, done, done. On 7 seas we learn Eastern call. Faith, courage, service, true with honor, all. Your name, name, chief, name, pride.
On behalf of the Chiefs Mess, we would like to give thanks to all the families and friends of our newest chiefs who were able to join us live and help make this day so special for each of these new Chief Petty Officers. Thanks to all of you for your attendance. This concludes today's ceremony. Please join us welcoming the Navy's newest chiefs.